Hey guys, welcome everyone. We'll just wait for the room to fill up a little bit, and then I'll kick it off. Oh, it's good to finally get some trends, right? It's been great.
It's been a killer week for FinRev.
It's been
Doing
wonderful. It's been wonderful.
nicely.
Oh, thank fuck. It's just, I mean, that's quite literally what we get paid for, right? Like we get paid for all the times when it's just a frustrating strategy. If it was a simple strategy to live with, everyone would do it and it wouldn't work anymore. So, um, yeah, yeah, so heartfelt thanks to everyone who sat through it. We're all making piles of money now. Um, Good times are good times. All right, let me know when I should kick it off, Caroline.
Yeah, I think we're good to go, Scott. We've got 55 in the room.
All right, let me share my screen. Gonna do that. There we go. So the Trump victory has caused a massive spike. In Bitcoin, it's run at almost to 100,000, and then we had a pullback, and we've had another little rally. And we're going to dig into this a little bit in a moment. But for the first time this cycle, we're seeing the rally not in Bitcoin, but in altcoins. So this dark blue line here is Bitcoin. And we can see that most things are beating Bitcoin's ass since the election. So this is post-election price action, which I think is the most relevant now. And if we look down the list of what's been really outperforming, ADA and Polkadot, I mean, that just wasn't on my dance card for the year. We're long them in our automated systems, but I hate those coins. I thought they were scam coins. Dogecoin, Dinosaur Coin, Atom, TIA, SEI, NEAR, AVAX, Phil, Link, INJ, everything. I mean, Popcat is lonely down the bottom, but only because it had such an incredible run first. Like Popcat's been out of control good for the last 6 months. So anyway, so the point is that I think everyone wants to know is 100K a hard barrier, and is money going to flow into altcoins in general, like utility tokens? Is it going to flow into memes? Is it going to flow into DeFi? Is it going to flow into dinosaur coins? Like, how do we position ourselves here for the next thing? Now, let's talk about is 100K a hard barrier first. So I want to get some opinions in the chat because I think this will be kind of like interesting for everyone. So yeah, Freedom, ADA, XLM, like those are like XRP too. Those poor choices of investment. Um, and yet. So who thinks that Bitcoin is going to blast through 100K this time? Who thinks it's going to pull back here? Who thinks it's already started to pull back? Like, let's see some opinions in the chat, please. Okay, pull back. Simon, XRP, I don't really get, no one gets, man. Eadonism, I think we rip 100K next week. Steve Rust, over 100K easily. Paul, eventually it'll break through. Freedom, break 100K after December 5th. Marlon, slight pullback. Matter of timing, pull back at Christmas, go through 100K. So there's a couple of things going on. Pull back and go. I thought we were at pull back and go. But let's start examining the evidence first on Bitcoin. So the first thing that we want to look at is what we call cumulative volume delta. So this is, are people being more aggressive on the buy or the sell? It's the percentage of people market buying versus the percentage of people market selling. And if we look at this on a 5-minute chart, so we look at the rally that we had in the last couple of hours, we can see this is strongly up. And this is spot and this is futures. Now, what you want to see is the spot leading the futures. And you can see that the spot and the futures are going up at the same time. That's not quite what you want to see for a sustainable rally. And if we look at it overall, if we look at the open interest was very high at the highs. It's come down a little bit, but during this big run up, we didn't get much of an increase in open interest. So there's not many people leverage betting that it's going to blast through. That's important to know. The second thing that it's important to know is that look what happens when, if we go back in time a bit, when the spot bid becomes aggressive before the futures. So you can see the spot CVD here was much more aggressive and bullish than the leverage bets, which really went sideways for a long time. This kind of price action. I don't know how to do that. This price action here, with a steady and smooth increase in open interest, this is really what you want to see. So we're not particularly bullish here in the short term. It's just a pause. We're not seeing people willing to put their bets on the table that we're going to get past 100,000 here. It may very well pull back. Freedom, the leverage bets can be both long and short. Now, let me just grab some positioning on that while we, one sec, while we look at it, because it's a really cool thing. So this is particularly useful information. I'm going to post the URL in the chat, Freedom, because you'll like this. So if we look at BTC, you can see that open interest is leverage bets it's a 5-minute chart. Let's make it a daily chart, make it more clear. You can see that open interest is down from the peak. So no one really wants to bet big on this happening either way. And if we look at the top trader long short accounts, this is quite predictive, actually. So this is the top 20% of traders. At the peak, they were 61.38. And our long short ratio of positions is 1.58. Oh, sorry, that's still 5 minutes. Sorry, my bad. There we go. This makes much more sense. Sorry, that was confusing me for a moment. Okay, so our long short ratio is 1.58. So we've got 1.5 Binance long traders on compared to 40% of Binance short traders, and this is the 20% of most profitable traders. And there's signal here. You should generally assume that big traders drive the market and big traders are going to make money and small traders aren't. And I noticed this last night. I was on a Zoom call with some Saudi guys who run a hedge fund and the top 10 traders on the Binance leaderboard, and they make money almost by virtue of being big. Like they push the market around themselves. And you can see when this goes down, things aren't so bullish. So where are we? We're medium. You can't really draw much from that. When we move this from Bitcoin to Solana, which I think is probably more relevant. You can see that as price has gone down, open interest has gone down, which indicates people taking profits at $260 all-time highs. And this rally for the last sort of day and a half hasn't attracted much open interest. So this does not, and if we look at the CVD spot and the CVD futures, you can see that people are hedging out their futures risk because the futures on Solana are still broadly negative. People want to buy Solana at 200 again, Freedom. The market does like to clear out leverage positions, but clearing out leverage positions can only happen when we have a crash at a very high rate. And we didn't get that. So when we're not getting the classic flash crash leverage position burnout, we're just seeing lackluster interest in pushing it up at the new highs. So what does that look like? So you can see we've had, since the election, which was here, since the election, it's been one-way traffic. We've had a pullback, and we had a very strong rally, taking us almost back to where we were. And then yesterday, let's look at what yesterday was. How do people in the chat interpret yesterday? Freedom, what do you think that indecision, directionless? Okay, so a spinning top is a word, but let's get away from 400-year-old Japanese names about things, and let's get on to what it actually means. So the day before we opened at the lows, we closed near the highs, no one really sold, and it was an expanded range, indicating the bulls started the day in control. They ended the day basically in control. And we had a small but relatively insignificant amount of profit taking. That was a pretty good bullish setup in context. We've got the first pullback after a very strong run, and we've got dip buyers step in. What would you expect after that? So if we think about this candle in context of what we expected from the previous candle, is that weaker or stronger than what you expected in the chat? It's weaker. It's definitely weaker. So what we would ideally have wanted to see is, another one of these or these or these. So in the context, and the context is crypto's in the news every day. It's a giant, big $100,000 number that everyone's looking at, and the $100,000 number is here. We've got massive bets on whether or not it'll make 100K before Christmas. This and the relatively lack of aggressive buying, like this line, if it slopes up, we've got aggressive buying. If it slopes down, we've got aggressive selling. This does not look like we're going to rip and run straight up here. Now, Marlon raises a great point. Is this due to the US holiday? Oh, of course. So, and you can see this very clearly if we go to so this is just Bitcoin. And you can see clearly that we've got the aggressive buyers and sellers on Binance which is primarily an Asian exchange. You can't trade in America. And you can see Asian buyers are quite aggressive, whereas the ones on holidays, well, okay, X is Asian too, and like the ones on holidays are not nearly as aggressive. Major crypto exchanges are always open, Marlon. They don't close. What we are seeing is very attractive basis trades. So the 3-month basis on Bitcoin is 20%. What does that tell us? It tells us that we have a huge desire for leverage and people are willing to pay 20% a year to borrow Bitcoin because they think it's going to be higher. This is a very positive sign. Institutional traders start salivating at 20%. 20% get locked in and guaranteed. Now, our Bitcoin cumulative return by session, this is the Asian session, doing a lot better than US, which is US and EU. And the US, which has been on holidays, has really taken the worst of it here. So there's definitely a holiday effect. So going back to what do we expect? This don't look great to me. I think the highest probability is another shakeout. And then a blast. Let's take a quick look at global M2 liquidity while you're questioning that, Freedom, and let's just take a quick look at it. Just load up a different one that's going to be easy to see. Okay, so the yellow line, global liquidity weekly, still reasonably high. And you can tell that this is reasonably tracking the stock market and the global risk on. And if I put Bitcoin on there, it's going to reasonably track as well. So global M2 liquidity, and I'm getting a bit too nerdy into the weeds here, is a very small part of the portion because the Fed has other tools, and they have the overnight repo market. They have there's a bunch of other stuff, and we should also look, while someone's brought it in, at the stablecoin market. Marlon, before we do that, I want to look at, this is a very, very, so this is the percentage of profits on the left-hand side that short-term Bitcoin traders are in. Now, I think we can all agree that long-term traders are selling out some Bitcoin at $100,000. That's why it's slowing down, because it's a nice round number, and you bought it at $5 and it's at 100 grand. Like, you take some opportunity while the liquidity is there. This is just something that they do. But when we strip those long-term holders and the whales out, we see some short-term stuff. And we see typically that tops in the market are associated with excessive profitability in short-term traders. Now, what we're seeing here is that traders were making money, but Bitcoin traders were only an average of 25% in profit. And now that's dropped back to 17% in profit. That is not a speculative excess that would cause a crash. So my point is that we're not expecting a crash in Bitcoin and then go. So the Bitcoin doomers who are, it's never going to hit 90, it's never going to hit 100,000 and it got to 99.5 and it's dead and they're shorting it, that's idiotic. What we're looking at, the highest probability, is what I would call a pause that refreshes. Just normal, healthy selling. Now, the normal state of a pullback, a normal, healthy pullback, is a zigzag like this. That's just what a normal, healthy pullback is. Have to happen, but generally it forms a normal, healthy pullback before it has a go again. And so we would expect reasonably things to come off at least to here, probably to here. Why here? Well, a lot of people bought their Bitcoin in this 5-day period, 6-day period here. When it gets down to their buy price, you imagine you bought Bitcoin here for 89,000. You're feeling pretty good at 99,000. Now you're having a bit of an oh shit moment. Now you're like, maybe, come on, it's the little engine that could. And then if it gets back down to your 89,000, you might puke your position. So what we're looking for is anywhere where the bulk of this buying was going on, we're looking for guys puking their positions here. This is where you want to buy. Well, who will keep buying it at 99K? People who want to earn 20% carry on 99K. I like the idea of earning 20%. Sailor, he'll definitely buy it. Like he'll buy it 500K. There's a tax effect too. So we've got a lot of cross occurrence going on here. Let's look at the same thing in Solana, which is the big dog in the market right now. It's the same kind of, it's a similar kind of thing. And if we look at the total altcoin market, the altcoin market looks actually for the first time a little bit better than Bitcoin. You know, the altcoin market looks kind of, excuse my crappy drawing as usual. The altcoin market looks ready to rip and run. So we have to be prepared for the situation where Bitcoin might pause and roll over and altcoins take over. So let's look at some evidence of that. So what are the top performing altcoins recently have all been Dino coins? Let's look at ADA. How's that for a crappy dinosaur coin? So open interest is still rising. CBD spot and CBD futures. Still going down. So we are seeing price rises, but aggressive selling into those price rises from ADA bag holders. So to me, that tells us that the overall weight of evidence is that even though this looks Dino coins that were launched in 2016 and 2017, and nearly all of them were launched on the premise of a dino mean dinosaur. Nearly all of them were launched on the premise of Ethereum's made a lot of money. We're going to kill Ethereum and we're going to eat Ethereum's lunch. So it was the 2017 bull market, and a lot of those coins just got completely left behind. So this one doesn't look like the highest probability. It could still happen. If it does happen, that's an alt season, and it's, happy days for us. What is more likely to happen is a pullback, where to the obvious place for a pullback to happen is somewhere around where most people bought. So we're probably looking at a pullback to here and then go. So what we're looking at overall, every Dino coin was marketed as an ETH killer. And, my personal favorite was EOS. I fucking sold that the day they launched it. It was like they launched the coin, and this got to $32 billion in 2018. They launched it like right into the peak. It went up for like 2 weeks, reached $15, and then it was down only. And then even in the next bull market, it couldn't get anywhere. Now it's down only, and then now it's pumping, but it's pumping from, you can't be cheering about that result if that's the coin that you've been holding, right? Yeah, it's just Dash was hot shit too. Yeah, it all looks good until you zoom out, right? Like until you realize that. And my opinion, if you're holding a coin with guys who paid 475 for it and it's at $50 now, at some point, all of these guys are going to want their money back. So there's built-in selling pressure. This is not the shit that you really want to be in. This is not the shit that you really want to be in. So overall, let's recover, and then let's go to some algorithmic stuff. What do I think is happening? I think the highest probability is that Bitcoin limps without crashing down to here-ish, and uses that pause that refreshes the guys who just bought it at 99 because they were afraid it was going to blast through to 120. There was a bit of FOMO last week. There was a bit of FOMO here, right? And what's here is roughly 90K. Could be a little lower, could be a little higher. Retardio's fine. It's just all the attention is sucked out of the room to these AI memes. Don't worry about those. They're all starting to crash. And we saw exactly what's going to happen with those AI memes yesterday, and I'll show you exactly what. So of AI memes, which I really doubt are AIs, I reckon they're probably a guy in a room tweeting. The big one that isn't listed on exchanges yet is Rismus. This one went nuts yesterday, and let's look at it on an hour chart, and you can see it's just a classic pump and dump. Like it got to 100 mil and they just dumped it. Yeah, I don't think most AI is even AI. It's just a label. If we look at the other AI coins, Zero Bro, $410 million market cap for something like that. I've missed the AI. The only thing I've got in the AI narrative is Bartcoin, would you believe, is an AI coin. This is the only one I have. And even it's looking a little weak but that's a much better chart. Okay, so what have we got going on? We've got an anticipation of a pullback, but we should still be positioned long. What should we be positioned long in? We should be positioned long in the spot coins that we like the most. So if we send this back to the lows, we go, the lows, that black line. So what's been working the most? Doge, Sui, which we own, Ray, which is the pump.fun exchange, fund exchange. It's a Solana DEX. ENA. These are all things we own. So off the lows, we've been pretty good. We're holding the top coins. I think Fartcoin is a pretty cool token idea simply because it doesn't need a community. It doesn't need socials. It doesn't need a picture of a dog that people are going to get tired of. It's like fart jokes were funny when I was 5 years old. My daughter makes fart jokes with me every single day. It's an inherently funny thing to make fart jokes, because everybody farts. That's and that's a thesis, and it looks like it's something that's going to be listed on exchanges. There's price insensitive buyers in there, so I'm very bullish about Fartcoin. Popcat, we've had some questions about. Pretty serious pullback. I reckon this is a really nice spot to buy for it. I think this is the standout, undervalued, definitely going to be listed on Coinbase and Robinhood exchange. We've seen WIF got listed on Robinhood last week. That's a signal that major memes that cross into the public domain are going to get listed on Robinhood and Binance and Coinbase. And that probably means Popcat's in the running. I'm still holding Popcat. I like it here. It probably needs to shake a few people out because it was very, very, very strong. What's my prediction on market cap by the end of bull run? If we get a bull, I think Retardio is going to 1 billion no matter what, simply because it's got such a huge and growing community. I think in a drawn out, slow burn bull market, it's going to about 2 billion. I've got a stretch goal of 5 billion. Freedom, do I care about Kraken or Gemini listings? No, they don't matter at all. With Pepe and Flocky on Coinbase now, and I think Pepe is my meme of choice right now. That's the best looking chart. That's at all-time highs. You're buying it at a discount from where it was a month ago. If you had to buy one meme today, this is it. Honestly, I think Pepe is a meme. On Coinbase, Pepe is a slam dunk on Robinhood. The Wall Street Bets crowd love it. It's a Trump associated meme. Yeah. So memes are becoming mainstream. Anyway, will it keep flowing into memes or will it flow into DeFi? Now, we have a very, very interesting coin that's being released today, which is the Hyperliquid exchange. The coin is called Hype. And the airdrop, they announced the owner is a mate of mine, Singaporean HFT trader called Jeff Yan. And the Hype airdrop is much more generous than we thought. If you hold the Hype airdrop, my strong advice is not to sell it. Most airdrops, you just want to sell as soon as they give you the coins and then fuck right off. My opinion, what you want to do with the Hype airdrop is hold this, because this exchange is growing so fast. And let me show you what I mean by that. So this is the trading volume for all the different perpetual futures dexs. And when it eventually loads. I mean Hyperliquid exchange. Hyperliquid exchange releases their own token today. And all of us who've been using it, we're all going to get some. So I'm going to get quite a lot of money, actually, like 30 grand-ish. And if we look at the trading volume, Hyperliquid's doing 2.4 million a day. DYDX version 4, where we trade, we're next up at 552. So it's five times the size of its nearest competitor, and the rest of the competitors are just nowhere. Like Drift, which is the VC one, is a tenth the size. GMX, which was the big hyped one, a sixth of the size. So this, if we look at this blue line, is the hyperliquid volume. It's winning and streaking away. And you can see the others are all going down. So hyperliquid is a clear winner. It's the only product with product market fit. Well, we have 3 products with product market fit this cycle. We have Pump Fun, which people love, even though it's scammy. We have Polymarket. People love to bet on shit. And we have hyperliquid. People love to gamble and degen. I think when I use hyperliquid, I enjoy using it as a user more than I enjoy using Binance. The actual user experience, like the way that I feel after I place a trade on hyperliquid, I feel like the exchange works exactly like an exchange should. How about Pulse Chain? Pulse Chain is a scam, and you needed to sell everything you owned in Pulse Chain the second it came out, because it's down 99.999999999%. So how do I feel about investments that are down 99.99999% that go down every day? I don't even know if people chart it anymore. Like, yeah, that's fucking great. And Pulse Chain, not even listed on exchanges. I mean, it might be going up now, but geez, no, don't do it, guys. Don't do this to yourselves. I know Richard Hart personally, like back in the day. I know him. I've done business with him. Everyone I know was offered a chance to invest in his IPO. No one did, because he's been a lifelong scammer. He's done some of the scammiest, greasiest things that you could possibly imagine in his life. And that's how I met him, is because he was doing scammy, greasy things in Mexico. And he's under indictment. Like, forget that. That's shit. Okay. So moving on. Also, we started integrating hyperliquid yesterday. For those who don't know, Chris, one of our South African devs, is on that full time now. So is there signs of excessive leverage that might cause a crash? No. Are we seeing? Yes, we're seeing quite aggressive selling. Are we seeing aggressive spot buying? Not yes. So we're not expecting a crash, but we are seeing profit taking, so we're expecting the price to drop. We're not seeing aggressive spot buying. What's the conclusion, guys? What do you think? In the chat. And if you miss getting points for the hype airdrop, as soon as it should spike, drop, and then wait for the drop and wait for it to stabilize and buy some. Okay, so I think the odds overall are we've done really, really well for a little while. We're probably going to give a little bit back, and if you're holding spot, just hold spot. I would not hold leverage here. If you want to take leverage positions, wait for the drop to buy. I think that's smart. And I think you should be holding the strongest coins. And the strongest coins are the ones that are going up the most. I don't believe in exit prices, Capital, because we don't know how crazy things are going to get. I mean, in 2018 and 2021, we saw numbers that were just like ludicrous numbers, like vaporware was trading at $50 billion. So what's the exit price? Is it depends if people lose control of their senses and start behaving like idiots, or if the adults in the room take control of the price action, and it's a slow, steady grind up. So we've got something that we think is going to probably go down over the next week and probably going to be up very strongly over the next 3 months. That's all right. We can deal with that. So I think this is a very healthy pullback. The last thing that you want if you want to understand markets in general, we go through periods where money is really easy to make. And then we go through periods where money is hard to make. And then we go through periods where money is easy to make. And then we go through periods where money is hard to make. Now, we've had a period where money has been extremely hard to make that's lasted for a long time. And you can see that generally, if you look at it logically, the normal pattern is shitty time roughly equals good time. Shitty time, it's about this long, roughly good time. We've had this much shitty time. We should be expecting this much good time. But right now, we're just gone a bit too far, too fast. Like we've gone vertically straight up. Like everyone's making money, everyone's feeling good. We need, for a healthy market, we need a pullback and then a go. We need one of these. And so we're looking at something like this before an even bigger run. Dude, Richard Hart isn't an important guy in crypto. He's not done anything except fleece his followers for billions of dollars. And he's not done anything for the industry except bring ridicule on himself. And the reason he dresses like the way that he does and flies around in private planes is to signal to people with low critical thinking skills that, so he's a marketer. He's not a technologist, and he markets exclusively to people with low critical thinking skills. So if you're doing any business with that guy, and I've done business with him in real life like 25 years ago, I would say very clearly, he's going to rip you off. He's going to rip you off, dude. He's ripped everyone he's ever dealt with off. So he's not going to change now. And he's under indictment. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys, but if you're doing business with that guy and you're trusting him to bring you to the promised land, you ain't going to make it. Good question, Freedom. Let's see how much difference it looks without Sol. Looks roughly the same. I think Sol is clearly as big as Ethereum now. So, this looks very bullish, right? Like altcoins look bullish. So I think Bitcoin is definitely going to pull back. Altcoins may keep going. If we get the situation where altcoins go up while Bitcoin goes down, what does that tell us? It tells us that people are taking their money out of Bitcoin and putting it into altcoins. So this is the signal. If you see this, if we see alts go up while Bitcoin goes down, this is your move to go all in. This is your move. This is your move. XRP and XLM have been amazing this week. As for Murad thinking that SPX 6900 is going to be big, well, of course he says that. He owns $20 million worth of SPX 6900. like he's the largest owner of the coin. He practically started and built it single-handedly. Of course he's going to tell people it's going to go to the moon. But you can't trust people in crypto, dude. You can't trust me. You can't trust any of those liars. You can't trust Ansem. You can't trust anything. All right. So let's move on. I think we're definitely in a bull market. The form of that bull market is unclear. If we see alts go up while Bitcoin goes down, this is a very, very positive sign. We have not as yet seen evidence of that. In fact, the evidence is that we're looking at a slow, steady, all-over pullback over the next week. And I like that. I like slow, steady pullbacks. I don't want it to go vertically to Bitcoin 200,000 because then in 6 months it'll all be over. Andrew makes an excellent point. The regulatory environment is completely changed from the election. Pre the election, anything DeFi was illegal. Releasing coins was unregistered, unregulated securities. Dexs were being prosecuted as on a criminal level. Tornado Cash was being prosecuted for money laundering. All of that is off the table. Trump is what he is, but he is very transactional. And crypto people really gave him a big boost for the election. Like crypto got right all the way behind Donald Trump because we wanted Gary Gensler to get the ass. And fuck Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler's gone. Fuck that guy. So this is a complete flip in the USA regulatory activity, and it's big. And it's big in a number of ways. Baron Trump has launched a meme coin, which he wrote. Donald Trump and his grifty families, his grifty family Trump world members have launched a copy of Aave DeFi exchange. If meme coins are illegal and DeFi exchanges are illegal, then members of the Trump family are in line to go to jail. So my way of thinking is it's crime season now. Like all the shit that used to be either marginally illegal, don't ask, don't tell, or kind of illegal, I think you can do what you want now. Bullish on crime. And that's why I think this is going to be the biggest bull market of all time. But I also think, especially with the participation of the institutions, and you can now generate income by selling TradFi BTC options, which is a huge business. I think it's going to lower volatility. I don't think it's going to be one of those like 3 months and then we're done type things. I think this is going to be the longest running crypto bull market we've ever seen. I don't even remember what Barron's token was. If he did it with the farmer bro, Shkreli. And there's no guiding political or economic philosophy from Trump, just transactional. I think that's a fair statement. Fucking Elon delivered him the election, and now Elon gets to do what he wants. Crypto people supported him in the election. Now we get to do what we want. I mean, that's you can argue about whether or not that's right or wrong, but that's actually what's happening. Barron's autistic, but apparently he's very smart. He's like one of them Rain Man autistic types, not the ones who can't fucking wipe their underpants. And you're still really early. And why are you really early? Because even though Bitcoin's gone, we've got plenty of very undervalued memes, and we've got plenty of very undervalued DeFi projects. Yeah. So I would get positioned on this next pullback if you're not positioned. So the last 6 months, while it's been like this, it's been hard goddamn work. Some coins because it starts going up and then they go back down and you buy some more and then you get fucked and then you buy. It's just been. And if I look at shit, let's look at my own returns. These are my returns at various vol targets. It's just generally been a cunty time. What you should do is let FINRAV handle it, because what this does, and this is our automated system, when you finally get a trend, you're straight back at all-time highs. Like we're straight back at all-time highs, like within a month. Now, the problem with trend is if the market goes sideways, no amount of math camp and no amount of symbols can help you. Like you're just fucked when the market goes sideways. We got a solution to that, which I'll get into later. So the last 6 months, well, FinRev is just a lot simpler. I still do a little. I kind of like the barbell approach. So I like, if I'm going to play altcoins, I don't really want to play Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, because FinRev will definitely outperform, top 5 majors. Where FinRev might not outperform and will never catch 100 to 1 runner. Like I've got a 500 bagger in fucking Retardio. Like FinRev will never do that. So I like taking a small percentage of your money, putting most of your money in FinRev, so it's relatively safe, and at the end of the year it's going to make a profit. Personally, I like 50 vol. That's a little bit wild for most people. So if we look at the trailing 12 months returns, so 50 vol at its absolute peak, it went from nothing to 93%, down at its peak to 23%. So it went from 193 to 23, which is a 35% drawdown. So if you're going to trade at 50 vol, you have to expect, and the biggest drawdown you have is not the biggest drawdown you've had yet. It's like that. This is the worst day of my life meme. No, it's the worst day of my life so far. At 50 vol, you can expect eventually a 40% drawdown. I don't know. My meme coins get 40% daily drawdowns. And where is it now? It's at 96.1% for the year. So these are the types of returns that are reasonable to expect. And this hasn't been a good year for FinRev. No one would say this is an amazing year. This is just an average. This is probably a below average year. It's a below average year, and at 50 vol, you're looking at 96%, and at 30 vol, 35 vol. Well, actually, we don't have anyone running at 35 vol on this exchange. At 40 vol, you're looking at 74%. So you're looking at 75 to 95% in a very, very frustrating year. It's not the worst thing in the world. 7 months of torture, but here we are. It's not the worst thing in the world. My point to you is that changes in the blink of an eye. All of you are thinking, or some of you are, that we're still in this fuckery zone, but we're not. We're back to this like good times and rock and roll. Like it's time to step on the gas. It's time to lock in. It's time to pay attention. If you're starting out, how much would you like to start FinRev with? I'd want to put at least 10 grand in personally. The real problem is not making the money. Like you can pick a coin. I reckon Altcoin will probably outperform my automated systems. For example, I think Altcoin will probably end up being $1 billion coin or a $0 coin. I think Retardio at $117 million market cap will be a minimum of $1 billion market cap. I think it's quite possible to outperform my automated systems, but you got a big problem. The problem is, when do I get it? When do I cash out? And I've had that problem myself, right? Like I see $500,000. I see $500,000 worth of Retardio that I own, and I go, well, fuck, man, I sure could use $500,000. And Freedom, are those the only options? 1 billion or zero? Kind of, yes. It's probably either going past 1 billion to 2 billion to 2 billion plus, or it's going to zero. There probably isn't any in between with those memes. And that's telling you guys the truth about altcoin trading. Is it's very difficult in investing to find a free lunch. There's a lot of like guru types telling you buy this coin, it's going to 100x, it's free money. It's not free money. It's just a lottery ticket, right? It's a lottery ticket. Put more in or sell. Put more in Retardio. I think Retardio is going to make me $10 million personally, but it could also go to zero. My automated systems will never go to zero. And the big problem that you have is when we were way back here, I remember this exact day, and I'm sitting on the beach. I got invited to speak at a crypto conference, which is like something that only happens at market tops, right? And I got invited to this crypto conference, and I got recognized 3 times in the fucking airport. People were stopping me and, are you Scott Phillips? Are you Scott Phillips? Like this is not normal. This doesn't happen to me. And then that night, I presented on stage at this crypto conference, and I was sitting on the surf beach at Da Nang with my buddy Reshveen, who's a big crypto influencer in Singapore, and he was smoking a cigar, and I was having a whiskey, and we were watching the surf, and he just bought property in Singapore, and I just bought a house, and we were cheersing each other and like, fuck, we're going to make so much more money. We're going to make so much fucking money in the next 6 months. Future's so bright, you got to wear shades. It was like one of those nights. That was that day. That was that exact day. And I'm supposed to be good at this. Like, I'm supposed to be the guy that's leading you all. And I can't pick a top. You won't pick a top. When it all finishes, you won't pick it. And how do I know that? Well, because I've been in 3 of these now. And I made a shit ton of money. Didn't give too much back last time, so I'd learned. But I did not pick the top. And the time before, not only did I not pick the top, but I held my shit and I watched all my profits evaporate. That was painful. So I don't think any of you are going to pick the top. And, you know, let's be honest, they always end. Russian mobster hitmen. Well, you have to be a little bit careful in crypto these days. Like, people will come and try and kidnap you. But yeah, I reckon they should call first. I'd hate to miss them. No one. I am a. You guys can't see me in real life, and I go from Professor Scott to Thug Scott and back to Professor Scott pretty quickly and easily. I'm a reasonably intimidating guy in real life. But the point is that it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And what I'm going to show you today is the exact strategies I'm using to turn $5,000 into $1 million in 2024. I might not quite make it. I'm like 820, 850. I've got a month yet. I promised to turn $5,000 into $1 million in 2024. And I'm depending on, I woke up late today, so I haven't checked, but I'm somewhere in the low 8s now. So I might squeak it in if I get some luck. But shit, $5,000 to 800 grand, it's not so bad. I'll show you all the wallets too. So if you missed out on making generational wealth in crypto, or if you got carted out during the hard time, this is naturally what happens in crypto as we go from easy time to hard time. And now we're back on easy time. And the easy time and the hard times generally are roughly the same amount of time. You can see that the amount of time it was easy was roughly the same as the amount of time it was hard. And we've had just a little bit of easy time. We've got plenty to go. So this is your second chance. So I'm going to show you how to know in advance which coins are going to move. It's going to be your ticket to building golden wealth. I think if you're building a portfolio here, a non-automated thing, you don't want to pay me any money, perfect. Don't need to. I think you've got to have some meme exposure. I think the memes that make the most sense are the ones, the mainstream ones. If you want to take a risky bet, Retardio Sigma, lock in. Those are 3 that I really, really like as risky bets. Those are either going to zero or they're going to billions. Popcat, Doge, and Pepe are already at billions. They're not going to zero. There's no chance they're going to zero. So what this is exactly the cat, the frog, and the dog. Freedom. The best cat meme that's not listed on Binance, although it is listed on Binance per futures. Doge is listed everywhere. And Elon's going to use the word Doge every chance he gets. And Elon's going to pump this coin to the moon. Shiba's been performing perfectly well. I just think that these new coins, Popcat and Pepe, are unbounded by what has been. So it's much easier So we have a very good idea of what Shiba can do. And Shiba was one of my most profitable trades of all time. Sadly, this was my exit on Shiba, but my entry was here. This was one of my most profitable trades of all time. Where is it? It's about halfway back to where it was in 2021. Where's Doge? Way past where it was in. Oh no, it's not. About halfway back. But Doge is still like a normie coin. I think it's much easier to get to new highs and imagine Pepe flipping Doge than it is to imagine Doge getting back to where it was in the peak of the 2021 hype cycle. Although it probably will. So this is an axiomatic principle, is that things at all-time highs have a fundamentally different psychology. And why is that? It's because every single person who owns the coin is holding a profit. When every single person who owns a coin holds a profit, who knows how high it's going to go? It's a lottery ticket. That's why memes work. Because once they go up to a certain amount, it's like you read all these stories about people holding $1,000 worth of WIF coin and now they've got 10 million. And you want that to happen to you. So you stop selling and then it becomes self-fulfilling. So I think you need some meme exposure. I like Pepe as the strongest of the bet. I like Hyperliquid later today when the coin comes out, when it stabilizes. I wouldn't buy it today because it's probably going to pop and then it's probably going to dump. But give it 4 or 5 days. Hyperliquid's the only place that USA customers can really use in size for perp futures. And it's genuinely as good a product as Binance. At $1 billion, I thought it was going to come at $1 billion market cap. It looks like it's going to be between 3.7 and $4.9 billion market cap. So it's probably going to be fairly valued on listing, but I think this is going to be a $50, $100 billion coin. What do you mean? What about Australia, Scott? Australia, you can trade perps. Bybit is the best exchange by far in Australia. So the next big winners are stablecoins. And we can see let's look at how many stablecoins are in the system. Or Japan, because that doesn't mean anything. So the black line is the Bitcoin price. The orange line is the amount of stablecoins in the system. How are stablecoin winners? Well, the people making them are making a lot of money. And you can see that Bitcoin is pumping again. It's no accident that stablecoins are pumping again. They turn off the stablecoin tap and it goes down again. So and you can see the last couple of days we've turned off the stablecoin tap. So this is quite a reliable way. It shouldn't be. It's so stupid. It shouldn't be, but it's quite a reliable way of predicting market movements. So the big winner in stablecoins is Tether, but you can't get any of Tether's profit. They keep 100% of profit for themselves. This coin, there's a bunch of stable coins. This is the fastest growing one. And it's gone from 20 cents at the lows to 70 cents today. Beautiful looking chart going up while everything else is going down. I really, really like this. I really, really like this as it's a DeFi native stablecoin that's not going to fall apart like Luna and the others did. And USD.E is my preferred stablecoin because you can deposit it on Binance, on Binance and Bybit, and just get 20% interest for holding that stablecoin instead of USDT. I think that's a very attractive offer. It's attractive enough that even right now, 20% risk-free, well, not risk-free, you take counterparty risk, is very attractive. Now, DeFi is the other one. In your opinion, has the danger of a stablecoin losing its peg? No, stablecoins will always unpeg from time to time. I think a stablecoin. I think the danger of a stablecoin like USDE is not like the previous failed stablecoins where they just ran out of money. I think the danger there is that the yield drops down low when we haven't, because the yield is based on demand for leverage. So that's probably a little bit complicated for this conversation. Now, investors fully haven't grasped how different DeFi is when it's legal. And there's two coins that I'm singling out as DeFi plays. You could add a third one, which is Aave, which is the biggest lending market. Ray, which is the coin of radium. All-time highs, unburdened by what has been. Making a fortune. Why? Because every coin that gets listed on Pump Fund that makes it gets listed here. This is a great coin. It's a highly, highly, highly profitable business. It's growing extremely fast. And let's face it, all the action in DeFi is Solana. Freedom, I think people will sell into stable coins. I honestly do. So I also like Pendle. Now, Pendle is a very interesting product that I use myself. And let me show you how it works. So if you want to stake your your Bitcoin or your Ethereum, the amount that you get paid for staking it changes all the time. It goes up and it goes down with the desire for leverage. I definitely recommend Ray and Pendle right now. I think those are very good buys right now. What Pendle does is allow you to fix that rate, and they do that with a complicated mechanism, which I'm not going to nerd out on. But right now on USDE, you can get 25% at a fixed rate, and you get that for 26 days, 16 days. You can stake your Hyperliquid. Actually, I'm probably going to stake that at 24%. Oh, that's Hyperliquid. You can get 23% here for 26 days. You can stake some of these other stable coins for 21%. You know, a guaranteed 26% that they pay you every day, it's starting to look pretty good. Like, considering, it's starting to look pretty good. This is a very, very good and useful product. If we look at the total value locked on it, let's look at some metrics on the network and see, are they growing or are they? So you can see that they grew very fast in the early part of the year. This is heavily based on desire for leverage because that's where the yield comes from. But you can see that they're steadily cranking up yield now. So I think as long as the desire for leverage is there, this coin will continue to go up. If we look at the volume, you can see really like the volume is coming in thick and fast now. There's plenty of people, more than ever before, have decided that, fuck, we're in on this thing now. Let's bet on this shit. So I think this is a very good play. And there's no need to overthink it. The good news is I've been spending most of my weeks lately playing like these terrible, terrible, terrible shitcoins. Like, let's look at what these asshole things have done. Nothing. Eliza, Worm. Nothing. Divinely protected. I owned this one. Nothing. Like, so the days of buying, $1 million market cap shitters and flipping them same day for triple the price, which we used to do a lot of, like a lot, and a lot. I think this is off the table for a little while. I think none of this stuff is going to work. And the implication of that is kind of good, is you don't have to worry about what's the new next Mudeng or what's the new next this, because that is really fucking tiresome. And the winners of this cycle in terms of meme coins are already out there. It's not going to be one you haven't heard of. It's going to be one that's already out there that you've already heard of. So I definitely want you all to have some money in memes. I definitely want you all to have some money in DeFi. Aside from that, lots of things you could buy, but when this kicks off and you're making piles of money, your thinking gets distorted. You don't want to sell. And this is really, it's bitten me personally on the ass. And the hard part is really knowing when to sell. And as a broad guide, when your normie mates start calling you up asking for coin tips, you're probably going to pull back. And hi, bud. Hope all cool. Haven't heard from this guy in 5 years. He's messaging me for damn straight. Like this is you expect pullbacks when you get calls from normies. So you don't want to get caught holding the bag. And what I mean is that if you pick the best coin, Solana is the best coin of this cycle. But it's only just back to the same price it was in 2021. And it went from $258 down to $8 or something. Like, you do not want to hold through one of these. You just don't. It'll break your heart. It'll absolutely break your spirit. So don't do that. Don't get caught holding the bag. Your number one risk here, you guys are all here, you're all in crypto. I think everything you own is going to go up. I think the bullshit coins that you own, I think even probably the Richard Hart coins are going to go up. I think the stupid memes are going to go up. I think the real projects are going to go up. I think finance coin's going to go up. I think Litecoin's going to go up. I think they're all going to go up. But they're not going to ring a bell at the top. And that's the problem. And you don't want to get caught holding the bag, because when the shit deflates, it'll deflate by 80% in Bitcoin and 95%. ES will probably go up just as fast as anything. ES is probably going to moon like a motherfucker. And they don't even have anyone working for them anymore. It's a dead coin. But you don't want to get caught holding the bag. You can't hold any of these thinking that they're going to come good in a couple of years, especially memes. Do just watch if that's the way you're thinking, I'm in it for 10 years. If you're in it for 10 years, you got to hold Bitcoin and Solana and Bitcoin only, probably. And I think that it's very clear now that Bitcoin is on a path that in 10 years' time, Bitcoin is going to, because Bitcoin does every single thing that gold does, except good luck pulling a USB with $100 million worth of gold out of your ass. And you can do that. I live here in Phuket, Thailand, and we have roadside kiosks where people swap USBs of Bitcoin. And because Russians can't use credit cards, there's no Visa and MasterCard for any Russians anymore. There's no Swift banking system. They can't send a wire transfer. So what do? They walk into one of the 5 money launderers, one of the 5 Bitcoin and USD Tether money launderers, literally money launderers on my street. And Russians use a lot of USD Tether on the Tron chain for some reason. I don't know. But they use that and they use Bitcoin. And yeah, so I think Bitcoin has a use case of people who need to hide money and people who need to move money in large amounts. I think Bitcoin's going to overtake gold. It does everything that gold does, and it does it much better. And it's probably going to take about 10 years for that to happen. And I think if you can just hold Bitcoin for 10 years, you'll do really well. I think it's going to 10x in 10 years. Why don't the privacy coins do better? Exchanges have real problem with privacy coins. And it's, yeah. Monero is a very good coin. It's very good tech. So what I'm about to show you, it's an autopilot way to know exactly when to sell. And since the system automatically keeps you in profit, you can enjoy your wealth without having to constantly check your phone, which I never do. Never have charts on your phone, by the way. You always want to be liquid. You never want to be in this situation where you're a bag holder for 5 years and you have to wait for the next bull market to get your money back out. That sucks. You want to be, there's no point in being rich if you can't just decide, like I decided this year, I want to build my dream house, which isn't a big mansion or anything. It's just like a cabin by the water in Thailand, but it's my dream house. And I just pulled the money out to build it. So I'm going to give you a step-by-step blueprint to actually build your wealth here. And I know that sounds crazy, but just keep an open mind and you stick with me and entertain the possibility that this could be for you, because I'm going to show you how. And I want you to understand that the beating heart of crypto always has been, it always will be, the chance for a little guy to throw a few $100s on an unknown coin, a fart coin, and turn that into lifetime wealth. Can you imagine the story? Well, why are we living in this big house, Granddad? Oh, yeah, because I bought $1,000 worth of fart coin. And they go, you legend. Like, that thing is happening now. It's already happened with Whiff Coin and Bonk Coin and a few others. And Goat, it's happening every day. And Retardio even. Once that happens, bull markets become unstoppable. It's an idea virus that spreads. So here's this plan. The plan that I'm doing that I think is the best plan is to ride this alt season to a life-changing win. I think now is the time to be in altcoins. Now is the time to lock in. You know that meme where the guy leans forward on the chair? Like, now's the time to pay fucking attention. This is a once every 5-year thing that comes along, and money is usually hard to make. And for the next year, money is going to be extremely easy to make. You want to ride that. You want to pay attention. You want to learn as much as you can. You want to get as much advice as you can, and you want to be sensible. And you want to keep your wits about you when everyone else is losing theirs. And you want to ride this alt season to a life-changing win. Then you want to take the profits and you want to get about 10xing that without ever risking what you already have. And when I say on 10x returns, you might think that's bullshit, but it's already done a 20x return. At a very, very high Sharpe ratio. So today you're going to see a press button make money system that I personally use, that Caroline uses, that Ian uses, that Aaron uses, that everyone in our company uses. We've all got our own money in it, and it's worked for all of us. It's made money every single year since we started doing it in 2019. It's never had a losing year. It has 4.5 million of our own money, making 100% per year. It earns risk-adjusted returns better than George Soros and Ray Dalio put together, and that's not a joke. Works in bull and bear markets, worked during the SBF debacle. And why? Because I'll show you why. It requires no thinking, no luck, and no predictions. You don't have to get the coin picks right, which is kind of hard. It requires zero knowledge of crypto or blockchain, and you barely need to check it at all. Like, I barely check it. Takes 3 minutes to set up. I'll show you how. It doesn't require technical skill. If you've never done any crypto, or you've only done like buying Bitcoin and Solana type crypto, easy to do. SBF, stupid bloody fucker. Fuck yeah. Sam Wankman fraud. And 4 of the 10 biggest hedge funds in the world use this method in their systems. And it's created countless billionaires and multimillionaires. And I personally made 10 million bucks out of it, and nobody's happier about that than me. And let me get a little bit nerdy. I just want to show you under the hood. How I built this was, first of all, I reverse engineered the biggest trend following hedge fund in the TradFi space, which is called Man AHL. They've got the best track record. They've got the smartest guys. And I reverse engineered what they were doing from their academic papers. And then we set about improving it. And once we had the money, I could employ world-class people. And we've got one of the best quants in the world whose name is the Robot James on Twitter. He has a great website called robotjames.com where he talks about trading and quanting and he's part owner of the company and he makes our systems much better than I ever could because he's, physics PhD, super math nerd guy. Okay. In the last few years, algo trading has really matured. So the high-frequency trading firms, the market makers like Jane Street and XTX, the stat arb firms like Citadel and Belazny, and the trend-following firms like Man AHL, they all have exactly the same type of trading system. So we were able to shortcut our journey to build this because everyone's doing the same thing. And what does that look like? I'll show you. Actually, let me show you. What am I going to show you? What am I going to show you? Let me show you. That was terrible. Sorry, I doxed an account there. We're going to have to edit that out. Yeah, this is an account I fucked up. Left the, let me just load up a different one of my accounts. So that was an account running at an extremely high degenerate leverage, which has inherently massive swings. So this is an account running at a very conservative leverage. So the way that it works is this is the money's put in. This is current value. It went badly for 6 months, and now where it's back to a close to all-time equity highs, but not quite. These are the top 10 positions. And you can see that it's nearly all longs right now. If we go to positions, and I think you'll find this interesting. So let's sort by notional value. So these are our positions ranked from biggest to smallest. You can see our biggest, we've got 3 pages of positions, but nearly all of them, except for this one down here, are long. And if we go to page 2, still long too. So we're probably 99% long right now. Now, how does this work? How it works is that, let's take TRX, which is our largest position right now. All of our signals generate a forecast. This dark blue line is the forecast. If the forecast is positive, we want to take a long position. If the forecast is negative, we want to take a short position. As we zoom in, these little arrows are little buys and little sells. So we're not jumping in and out of positions like an amateur does with a stop loss and a target. Every day we're just buying a little bit more. And you can see on every day we're buying a little bit, or we're selling a little bit, or we're buying or selling a little bit. And this is our position over time. So as things go more in our favor, we've been long since here. And I think you can all agree that that's a reasonably decent place to get long. Now, can someone rack another coin in the chart? In the chat, please. Something kind of major. Pick a coin, any coin. Wi-Fi. I don't know if we trade that. Hondo. I don't know if we trade. Let's have a look. On some exchanges, not this. Algo. Where's Algo? Here we go. Algo. Okay. So if we look at Algo in the long term, Algo's been in the getting fucked business for a long time. What happens when we're in the getting fucked business? So up here, we're long Algo. You can see that we're buying more, buying more, buying more, buying more, buying more, buying more. And then we're starting to sell as soon as it starts to go down. We're selling off rapidly. By here, we're short. Now we're betting that Algo goes down. Doesn't work very well, but we get out because it's not working. And when algo really does go down, now we're shorting it, staying short the whole way until, and we're short from here through to here. So this one was not a particularly successful trade. It didn't make money. It didn't lose money. Made, a tiny bit of money. But when we get a trend, when the market moves, look at this. So we're on this. We've got a big long position. And that's how it works. It's pretty much how it works. The more it goes up, the more we buy. When it stops going up, we start selling. That's pretty much it. And you can go to your trade history and you can see that every day we're not jumping in and out of positions, which is very expensive and inefficient. We're, buying a little bit, selling a little bit, and a couple of $100 at a time. So this is a 14th. Sorry, Zoom hates this page for some reason. It always Zoom always messes with this page. But so we're only doing little bits. So anyway, so that's the system. It's a very powerful system. If the forecast goes up, we bet it goes up. If the forecast is negative, we bet that it goes down. And because we're working on forecasts, which is the industry standard way of doing it, we can plug other forecasts in. And currently we're using 36, but in testbed, a great announcement I've got today is that we finished all of the upgrades that we were planning on making the system, and they're just running on the test server now, and we're finding bugs and getting ready to get the bugs out. So depending on how many bugs we find, it'll either be this week or next week that we roll this out to customers. And yeah, we've got some really big improvements. So the forecast can be simple or robust, like our industry standard trend, momentum, and carry ones, or you could use complicated forecasts, but it all works the same. These are our trading systems applied to a backtest of 100 traditional finance futures markets. And you can see that over 40 years, it's performed pretty well. So we never ran backtests on crypto markets because we figured backtests were going to be useless because crypto changes. But we're dealing with something that's worked consistently in TradFi for 40 years. Now, the next key point is that your performance scales with the square root of the number of independent bets. So if you don't speak nerd, let me translate. Trading more shit is better than just trading one thing really well. So instead of trying to build a super system for Bitcoin, you're better off just trading 50 coins and having lots of bets. And don't worry if you're a bit confused. I'd be surprised if you weren't. So how well does it work? It works really well. On average, it does slightly over or slightly under 100% a year. And, I can tell when it's about to go nuts because I was getting some close. God, it's been a terrible year. Well, Merry fucking Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Like what this feels like, it feels terrible to trade. Honestly, I'm going to tell you the straight truth. It is a very frustrating system to trade. It's easier not to look at it because it just makes money at the end of every single year. But these are long-term results. You'll note that it's been profitable every single year since 2019. It was a bit Wild West markets in the early days, so we can't really expect 107%. But I think we're going to do around 100% a year. Spends a lot of its time going sideways. It makes its money in short spurts. Here's how we made it easier to live with. And these are the massive improvements that we've made. So we've added 2 new edges, which we think take us to the end game of the system. So my goal, the greatest algo traders ever to do it were Renaissance Technology. Jim Simons just died, greatest ever to do it. He did 66% a year at sharp 2.1 before cost, 1.9 after cost. Our goal is to deliver a sharp 2.0 system after cost, which would make it the best risk-adjusted return ever off to retail investors ever. And so how do we do that? This is our existing trend signals over the last year. You can see that this is profitable, but lumpy and bumpy. When we turn those into what's called a market neutral system, where we are long half the coins and short half the coins instead of just long the coins that are going up and short the coins that are going down. In other words, we're market neutral. You can see how this one is smoother and the Sharpe ratio is much higher. Investors like smoothness. They don't like this jaggedness. I like the jaggedness, but investors don't. You probably will hate it. So the next system after that is a thing called cross-sectional carry, which is the funding rate, which is based on the desire for leverage. And you can see that carry gets us to Sharpe 1.7 by itself, but it also looks quite different than what we had before. Like, it doesn't look like this. So that difference is hugely valuable to us. So what do we want to do? We want to blend all three of those systems together. And when we blend them together, we get to Sharpe 2.01 after costs. But most importantly, we get this steady and kind of smooth. You get sideways periods. You're always going to get sideways periods in crypto. That's in any trading system. Don't let anyone tell you. Don't let anyone tell you that it's just going to be like you make money every single day, because people who tell you that are lying. But what we have at Sharpe 2.01 is we have a smooth and user-friendly equity curve that no one's going to be crying into their Weet-Bix any morning. No one's going to be like, oh, I lost so much money. You know, even here, it's like, how's crypto going? Oh, yeah, it's been a boring couple of months, but like we're still, you know, within 5% of the most money we've ever made. It's the end game. So if you aren't fluent in nerd, and I translate from nerd, so let me speak a little bit. What this means is that you're getting small risk, small drawdowns, high risk adjusted returns, 100% a year. And if you're a giant balls kind of guy, you can crank the leverage up a bit on this. So I've already shown you how it works. And it's done on average 107% a year. It probably gets a bit harder to do that over the next 5 years. So it'll probably go down a little bit, but I think we're good for 100% a year. If you start with 10K, by 5K, you've got 380, and then the compounding really kicks in. And after 10 years, you've got some sort of stupid money. And this is the type of money that I hope that you guys can generate for yourself. Because for me, $10 million is the amount of money that I don't care who you are, as long as you've got $10 million and you own your house, you can do anything you want in this life, as long as you're not an idiot who wants to buy private jets and private islands and you know, collect Patek Philippe watches, start buying race. As long as you don't turn into a dickhead, that's enough money to do whatever the hell you want for the rest of your life with whatever you want. Retadia is also really want to do is relax and enjoy the ride, and know that if you can keep your hands off the steering wheel, it's going to make you rich in 5 or 10 years, no matter how small a grub stake you start with. And what you really want to do is notice that, sure, it would have sucked the last 6 months, but yeah, well, baby, look at me now. Like, every year this happens. Every year, every single year, we end the year at making money. That's just exactly the way that it works. So what you want to do is not get cute. Everyone thinks I'm going to put it in and pull it out and time it and zig and zag, and I'll use my own judgment. And I'm here to tell you that every single person who's ever tried to do that has fucked it up. And I want to be honest with that. If you put your hands on the steering wheel, you're going to steer into a tree. You're going to get scared when it's down, and you're going to say, oh, the system's not working, I better pull it out, put it in something else. And then you're going to miss out on how it happened. Okay, if you can just not mess with it, you're going to experience. My goal for you is the same as my goal for myself, which is the ability to do whatever the fuck I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want, for as long as I want, to not ever have to worry about money, for money to not even be real. And that's the way that I treat money right now. I treat it as though I just buy the shit that I want. I don't buy shit I don't need. I never ever look at prices. I never think about prices. I never look at a bill before I sign it. It's just like, to me, money's not even real. And that's what I want for you. Most people are using their time to buy money. I want you to flip the script on that and use your money to buy you back. Do whatever the fuck you want. I'm in pajamas now. I like working in pajamas. I don't want people to be able to tell me what to do and where to be. And nobody in this world tells me what to do. And I value that. My wife runs the whole house, dude. I don't do anything. I haven't washed a coffee. I haven't washed a coffee in the last 10 years. I'm at zero lifetime nappies changed. I have a great relationship with my kid and my wife. Yeah, I don't do a single thing that I don't want to do. I'm not that guy. I do whatever the fuck I want. I want that for you. And because this has been life-changing for me and my beautiful family, my family are really beautiful, I want to give you the deal of a lifetime. So I'm going to give you, anyone who books a call today, I'm going to give you $500 in USD Tether from me to you, just to get you up and running as fast as you can. So with $500, it's only $500, but like your account's set up, you're up and running today, you're up and running and you're off and running and you're earning money. So if you want that deal, we have 3 tiers of FinRev available for you today. We have FinRev Silver. FinRev Silver, it's a signal service. So you have to execute the trades yourself. So you've got yourself a new job. It's not some people prefer it. Our CMO prefers it. Returns are pretty good, not quite as good as FinRev. Drawdowns are a little bigger. It's $1,000 for 3 years, and you get a signal that says, I should buy it now, I should sell it now. You get FinRev Gold, which is the system that I've demoed you today. It's the one that I personally use, which is $6,500 for 3 years of fully automated trend following trading. It's exactly what I personally use. I recommend it simply because you can crank the leverage up on it really fast. If you want to go degen on it and be willing to have 50% drawdowns like I am, then you can really, really make some money with this. FinRev Platinum is the last thing that I showed you. This is the blend of all 3 systems. It's $9,000 for 3 years of fully automated trading with all our systems, plus the ability to run multiple accounts. So you can split it up between Binance and Bybit and DYDX. You can run one account at a conservative leverage. You can run one account as a degen account. It gives you a lot more freedom. So let's go over it again. FinRev Gold is 3 years of automated algorithmic trading with FinRev. You get the VIP onboarding with one of our expert crypto trader coaches, like both Caroline and Aaron, who most of you know, like they know more about this system than me, and they use it themselves. You get all the stats and the monitoring that I've showed you. You can delay starting or pause at any time. We've got this guarantee, and the guarantee is if you aren't in profit during your first 12 months using the system, and everyone has been so far, we'll let you use it for free until you've doubled your money. And you book a call, finrev.trade/call. It's not some sort of high pressure sales hype call. It's a call with our onboarding staff. They just want to make sure that you're not doing something stupid with your money. Like, if you're an 80-year-old person and you've got a $10,000 net worth, this is probably not for you. And our onboarding staff are going to say, look, no, chill, dog. You need to do something else. FinRev Platinum, exactly the same thing, except it's all 3 of our systems, the cross-sectional momentum, the trend, and the cross-sectional carry, but you get the ability to run multiple exchanges, multiple accounts. Same double your money guarantee. You can delay starting or pause at any time with both these systems. So let's say you think Retardio is the deal of a lifetime and you just got to pile into that. You can pause your thing. You can put your money in Retardio. You can 10x it. You can pull it back out and stick it back in. I totally support that kind of behavior. Now is the time to engage in some of that behavior. Same double your money guarantee. If you aren't in profit after your first 12 months, which you will be, I'll let you use it for free until you've doubled your money. FinRev.trade/call. I should cover what happens at the end of the 3 years. Do I send you another bill for $9,500 or $6,500? Do I fuck you right? And do I fuck you again? No. After 3 years, if you want to keep using the system, I'm only going to charge you 20% of the profits that we make together. So if you don't make any money, I don't make any money. And that way, I believe your interests and my interests align. I don't want to make money unless you make money. And I don't deserve to make money unless you make money. So I reckon everyone should use this system. I use it. My dad uses it. Everyone in our company uses it. Our super boomer CFO Howard uses it. I'm just laughing because he just pulled out enough money to buy his boomer guitar. He plays guitar with it, and he's so happy about that. So the look on his face when he bought his dream guitar that he's wanted his whole life with this money was really cool. And I want that for you. So if you need a payment plan, shorter commitment, longer commitment, we got options. We'll discuss your situation. If you're an existing customer, you want to upgrade. The new improvements are banging. They work great. Everything's good. Future's really bright. Hope I've informed you today. I might hand it back to Caroline. I think I've gone over time and put on enough. Yeah, happy to take questions.
Awesome. Great preso, Scott. Yeah, full of insight as always. I think you've actually answered all the questions as we've gone through. Been lots of activity in the chat, and yeah, I think everything's been answered. But if anyone else does have a question, feel free to go ahead and post it. We're happy to cover any further questions.
Guys, my honest advice is do not sleep on this. This is one of those times, crypto can be a soul-crushing beast where it's really, really hard to make money, or it can be like this free money laying on the ground. All you have to do is pick it up. And that doesn't happen very long, and it feels like that's happening now. So let's make Black Friday for a week, mate. Frank and Biz. Let's make it last a week. Why the fuck not? So yeah. Okay, so go long or short. We can bet that the market goes up, but we can also bet that the market goes down. If you're a crypto moon boy and you're constantly, when's the best time to buy Bitcoin today? When was the second best time yesterday? Like crypto's always going up. You're going to spend a lot of your time hating yourself because crypto doesn't go up all the time. So when crypto goes down, we bet that it keeps going down. And this is why our returns are so good, because when crypto gets fucked, and let's face it, crypto does have a statistical tendency to shit the bed yeah, that's when it goes down. So let me, someone wants a demo. Let me show you a demo. This one. Oh yeah, let's do Doge. Got to dox someone again. Sorry about that, guys. So if you think about the worst possible thing that's ever happened to crypto, it's probably Sam Bankman-Fried stealing everyone's money, right? I think we all agree that. And that all happened in this kind of period around here. So let me zoom in a little bit. I'll show you what we did. So this is the day that Sam went to jail. He wrecked crypto for a while. So the day before, we had a slight long position. We had 4.5 and an average buy is 10, and an average position is 10, and you can see our position size here. We had a very, very small long position. Immediately the rumors started to swirl. We immediately got out of that long position. So we were back to square. And then the next day, while Sam was telling everyone, no, everything's fine, we're busy shorting it. And we stayed short this whole time. And when did we get out of it? We got out of it here. And we flipped long. Now, if you imagine, if you're a discretionary trader, you've just made a ton of money shorting Sam Bankman-Fried's coin at a time when Sam's in jail. And at this time, it looked like crypto was dead. At this time, crypto looked absolutely dead. But you got long here. And how did that work out? That was right there. how did that work out? That worked out fucking great. You know, you can see that long at the start of October, stayed long through the whole of thing, banked some profits, stayed long to some degree, stayed long to some degree the whole way up. So the idea is when the coin's going down, we bet that it keeps going down. And when the coin going up, we bet that it keeps going up. That's the idea. Stephen, this isn't operating live. I've been showing it operating live. This isn't no backtest. This is like, shit. How much money we're running here? This is like 14 million bucks worth of money running live, all our own money. So yeah, over the last 30 days, that's what it's done. Over the last 12 months, that's what it's done.
Scott, we've got a question from Freedom as well. Does FinRev adjust the days that it uses to define the trend?
Sorry, can you explain that? Does it adjust the days that it uses?
Does FinRev adjust the days that it uses to define the trend?
What do you mean? I don't understand the question.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. Freedom, can you add
Can you
some
unmute yourself
please?
or I'll clarify that?
The duration of time for a trend?
Okay, this is a very interesting question. So we use $36 different measures of trend strength, and you can see them all here. So, for example, this is 10-day breakouts. This is 320-day breakouts. This blah blah blah. This is 2-8 moving average crossover. This is a 416. Blah blah blah. These are Bollinger Bands. This is a 8-period Bollinger Band. We have no way of knowing in advance and no real basis for guessing which one is going to work best of all. So what we do is we mix them all together. And particularly these are predictive over a 6-month horizon. Between a 5 and 7-month horizon is about optimal. So we predict over a 6-month horizon and we give more weight to the signal that's been working best over the last 6 months. So if we look at, say, if we look at Bitcoin's Sharpe ratio has been, between 1.74 and 1.59, and right now Bitcoin's between 1.35 and 1.21. This signal here, moving average MACD signal, which I personally don't really like, it's been performing better than the others in Bitcoin. So it gets more capital. We give more capital to the ones that work better, and that's statistically validated. And this is how it works. This is how it works under the hood. And so Bitcoin gets a different weight in a system. So you can see as Bitcoin's done really well lately, it's gone from like 0.25% weight to 7.5% weight in the system. You have to source a broker, but the ones for Australia I recommend is Bybit is probably the best one. Bybit is who I use personally, and I'm an Australian, so I think I'm very happy with Bybit. And so, Freedom, to answer your question, the amount of time that trends go for, changes. Sometimes we get little short, like pissy trends, and sometimes we get great big long fuckers. If the markets are choppy, you might want to bet on short trends like this. If the markets are really, really moving, longer term trends are going to make the most money. Which one is good to use here in Thailand? I would recommend Binance. I would recommend Bybit. Binance and Bybit are. It's difficult to tell which is the best between them. But as a general principle, you want to, if you want centralized exchanges, if you don't trust centralized exchanges, I would say DYDX version 4 and Hyperliquid are the best decentralized exchanges. Also, the other aspect of it is a decentralized exchange doesn't have your name, doesn't have your email address, doesn't have your address, doesn't know what country you're in. So if you don't want to pay tax on your shit or you don't want to report your tax on it, you have to use a DeFi exchange. So I would recommend DYDX version 4 for that.
All right.
FINREF Silver, FINREF
It's 2
Silver
hours.
does fixed 3-day trend. FINREF Silver is going long, equal weighted, any coin that's within 5 days of making a 20-day high. Yeah, buy and send by a bit for Australia. That's about it.
Okay, I think we're good, Scott.
Thanks. Hey, Caroline, before the guys release that, I accidentally doxed twice.
Yeah, we'll edit that out.
Thank you very much. Okay, see you guys.
All right, thanks everyone.